know in the chat. Okay, perfect. So I say hello from Ibiza today. I am not in Berlin, but I'm on a research stay at the University of the Balearic Islands. So hi from Ibiza to everybody, sending sun. If you don't have it, there's plenty here. And I'm very happy to present to you the Open Virtual Mobility project that we have been working on since 2017. And the title of my presentation is, you can see this in white here. If I show the pencil, you should see the pencil, I think. And it's the title is Open Virtual Mobility Skills, Research Results and Application in the Design of Massive Open Online Courses that we have been developing in this project. So here you can see our team. That is me. That is Gemma, who I'm visiting currently here in Ibiza. And this is Olga, who I also hope will join us with her presentation, because Olga has done research on virtual mobility skills. And if you have any special questions about this research, it was done using the group concept mapping method. So if you had any special questions, I think it would be best if Olga could answer this. But I think she's still not here, but maybe she's going to join us later, because from what I understood, she had some technical problems. So let's see, these are the project partners, and you can see EADTU is also one of our partner organizations. The project is coordinated by my university, Beuth University in Berlin. And maybe you know the other partners, Open University in the Netherlands. We also have Polytechnic University in Timișoara, University in Rome, University of Balearic Islands in Ibiza. We also cooperate with Cineca, which is a network of Italian universities. And Cineca has a team, or part of Cineca is responsible and has built the badging platform called Bester. And we use this Bester platform to issue open badges to recognize virtual mobility skills in our project. And I will introduce this Bester platform to you in a few minutes. We also have KU Leuven as partner. ONEJ is a network of French universities, and our associated partner is EDEN. I'm sure you know it, European Distance and E-Learning Network. So if you are interested to learn more about the project itself, we have this nice website that was designed in Timișoara. This is the link to this website. And usually we try to post some short information about the current events. So after this event, I will also write a news piece with my slides, so you can find them there on this website after the webinar as well. We're trying to document everything that we do in the project. And also, if you go here to the outputs, you can read what we have worked on so far. So we have different outputs in the project. I will show you which ones. And we publish periodically our interim state about work in progress that we have in the project, and you can read all about it here under outputs. So what are the objectives of the project? The Open Virtual Mobility project is an Erasmus Plus strategic partnership, and the aim is to enhance the uptake of virtual mobility or open virtual mobility in higher education by improving the skills of teachers and students. We are also designing a collaborative learning hub in which we have the MOOCs for teachers and students, so that teachers and students from higher education can learn in the MOOCs, can also assess their skills, and can have their virtual mobility skills recognized with open badges. And what we also do is we develop a set of innovative tools and methods to enhance learning in the Learning Hub. And these tools and methods are, for example, meaningful gamification. We also have a matching tool for group formation to help learners find groups or match themselves into groups based on different criteria. We also develop a semantic competencies directory. This is how we call it. And the idea of this is so that we can match the skills or align the skills recognized by open credentials, by open badges, to already existing frameworks. I will also show you how it works in a few slides later. And before I tell you more about the MOOCs and everything, I would just like to start a little bit with the distinction of virtual mobility and open virtual mobility. Our project is called Open Virtual Mobility because we would like to open the current virtual mobility, which is rather closed because it's usually done at organizational initiative and is based on agreements between institutions. And our approach has been to sort of add also the new practices that are there that are enhanced by open education, where learning rather happens at the initiative of an individual learner, like you know from the MOOCs, from PLEs, and from e-portfolios. And we would like to sort of see the virtual mobility being more open to the other forms of collaboration, also these forms that do not have, for instance, a formal agreement between organizations, or maybe other forms of agreement that we would know from traditional virtual mobility. So the idea is that we would like to help teachers and students to open already existing educational formats like study programs, single modules, seminars, lectures, labs, even summer schools or winter schools, internships, networks, maybe even the campus if they cooperate with other universities in a virtual campus, for instance. So all these educational formats can be also made more open. You could have more open labs, open lectures, open seminars, and in this way also enable virtual mobility in a more open way. So that's why we have classified the different forms of virtual mobility based on this very simple scheme from formal to informal. So the formal ones would be the forms where you have an institutional agreement. There are projects that are based on these institutional agreements, and that's a rather traditional view at virtual mobility. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you would have informal virtual mobility cooperations that have no agreement and no recognition of credits. And in the middle, a semi-formal type of mobility where you would have, for example, MOOCs that allow you to earn ECTS points, but maybe there is no agreement between organizations, but students can participate in those MOOCs, get ECTS points, and ask their universities to get these ECTS points recognized. And coming back to our project, these are the outputs that we are working on. So we have one output which is called Conceptual Framework and Guidelines. And this is the one that has worked out the skill set, the skills for virtual mobility. And in this output, my colleague Olga and Kamakshi, I think Olga is still not here, has worked on group concept mapping and has worked out a set of 8 different skill types that we now use as a foundation to create our MOOCs. In the second output, we work on integrated virtual mobility service. This is our learning hub. I will show you where to find it. And in this learning hub, it's basically a learning environment where we have the MOOCs, but also we can find there open education resources and some other possibilities to learn and engage or also connect with other educators and students. And this integrated service integrates these 3 smaller outputs here. Output 3 is competency directory and the matching tool for group formation. In output 4, we work on e-assessment. E-assessment is part of every MOOC and is an important element also for issuing open credentials, open badges. And in output 5, we work on digital credentials based on open badges and on the meaningful gamification for learning. Then in output 6, it all gets integrated again into our OERs and MOOCs and the pilots that we are now conducting. And output 7 is about quality assurance and sustainability. And like I mentioned, Output 1 framework and guidelines has been working on the skills, and our key question at the beginning of the project was, what skills do students and teachers need to engage in virtual mobility, also especially in context of open education? So what are the special skills if you rather have this scenario where teachers and students learn at their own initiative, but also for traditional virtual mobility programs. So like I showed on the spectrum from formal to informal, with a semi-formal in the middle. And you can find the results of this research so far under this link, and also under the outputs on the project website where I showed you. So let me see, if Olga is here, she could probably even tell you much more about the group concept mapping study, but I think she's not here. So let me just explain in a nutshell. So the colleagues Olga and Kamakshi from Open University in the Netherlands used, and now KU Leuven used this methodology to first collect different statements from different experts. There were teachers, students, researchers, but also I think we had some people from international, working in international offices, and we collected in a specific tool used for group concept mapping. We collected different statements about virtual mobility in context of open education. And based on these statements, using different statistical methods, different clusters, skill clusters have been defined. And it was a pretty complex analysis. In the end, we have arrived at this set of 8 skill types that are necessary to participate in virtual mobility, and also are developed through participation in open virtual mobility. And the skills are intercultural skills and attitudes, but not intercultural skills and attitudes in general. We define them as intercultural skills and attitude needed for virtual mobility in open education. So a very specific look at intercultural skills, very much more narrow than you would just think about intercultural skills in general. The same about network learning. We also define this set of skills as network learning in virtual mobility in context of open education. And the same also for other skills: active self-regulated learning, media and digital literacy, autonomy-driven learning, interactive and collaborative learning in an authentic international environment, open-mindedness, and we also added one cluster, which is gaining knowledge of virtual mobility and open education, where we think students and teachers also need some declarative knowledge, or simply some knowledge about the types of virtual mobility, how they can be structured, how to plan, how to design a virtual mobility, for example. And you can see here we have used the different statements from the group concept mapping to define these different skills in more detail. So, for example, here media digital literacy has 3 different dimensions, like demonstrating learner control, being proficient in use of online technologies, and being proficient in it's so small, in community, in assessing quality in course. No, sorry, I cannot read it myself, it's so small. But anyways, what I just wanted to show is that we use the statements from the group concept mapping to basically create our own definitions, our own understanding of these different skills in context of virtual mobility and open education. What we have also done is that we have, and this is also done again by colleagues at Open University and KU Leuven, we have collected different use cases, different examples of virtual mobility, and we have mapped these cases to the different skills. And we have seen, for example, what different examples of virtual mobility, for instance, projects in virtual mobility, in what way do they foster digital and media and digital learning skills? What skills do they foster, or what skills can students and teachers actually learn in those examples or develop in these examples? So this is still work in progress, because we're working on this actually currently. The other thing that we have done with the skills is matching the skills, or first describing the skills in a granular level. So, for example, we have intercultural skills and attitude, and we have a description of this skill, and the table goes on and on the right side, where we have the different sub skills for this skill type. And the idea of this activity is that we want to match the skills that we have developed through group concept mapping with existing competency frameworks. And there are many different competency frameworks, but one of the specific ones that we want to test in our approach is the ESCO framework, which is the European classification of occupations and competencies on occupations. And it is available in a semantic format, and that is why we are developing the skills directory, so that we can have a semantic matching between our open virtual mobility skills and some of the sub-skills or sub-skill sets in the ESCO framework. That's why we, for example, have defined which sub-skill is, for example, part of a skill or another sub-skill. So we have been doing this exercise, which is necessary for development of the semantic skills directory. So a very granular work with skills, sub-skills, with the different indicators for those skills. And based on these different descriptions of the skills, but in general, the key framework are the 8 skill types. We have developed our MOOCs, and these MOOCs are available in the Open Virtual Mobility Learning Hub. This is the link, and you can log in there. You can just establish your account, or you can log in with Google, Facebook, or Microsoft if you want. And you can test our MOOCs and give us your feedback, which will be excellent. This is how it looks like. We have some featured courses which you can take, test, see if maybe your students or your teachers in your organizations could use them. It would be, maybe it would be helpful for you too if you are planning virtual mobility. So you can see here we have this. So every course starts with a welcome course. So here's the welcome to the MOOC Media and Digital Literacy. Here we have welcome to the MOOC Intercultural Skills, and so on. And when you go here, you find the rest of our courses. So the way we build the MOOCs is based on this classification of 8 skill clusters. So for each skill cluster, we have a sub-MOOC or a mini MOOC. So basically, we understand the whole thing as one big MOOC with 8 smaller sub-MOOCs. And each sub-MOOC or mini MOOC has a special structure. There is a video, there is a text, there is a discussion, and a quiz or another form of assessment. And we also call them mini MOOCs because they have a short duration. So we plan about 1 week for each mini MOOC. They also have, because the duration is short, of course, the content is rather short, so they are meant as quick reference MOOCs where you can, in a short time, learn about or develop a particular skill, learn about a specific topic. What we are also working on is how to personalize these MOOCs depending on whether our learners are actually teachers or students in higher education. And we have done this in some MOOCs already. For example, in the MOOC on media and digital literacy, we're experimenting with the Moodle functionality that allows you to choose a group. So at the beginning of the MOOC, you choose if you're a teacher or a student, and then we have some activities that are meant only for teachers or only for students. But this is still an experimentation phase. It's not so easy to implement in Moodle because the technical platform under the Learning Mobility Hub is Moodle with some plugins. To design the mini MOOCs or the sub MOOCs, we have also used the canvas for the MOOC design. Maybe you know it. It was very helpful to define the target groups, the pedagogical approach, the learning content, the objectives and the skills that each mini MOOC is addressing, the assessment activities, and the technologies like plugins, for instance, that we use for different MOOCs. And so we have come up with this general structure. For instance, if you go to the hub, you find the sub-MOOC or the mini-MOOC on the digital and media literacy. It starts with a pre-assessment where you can first pre-assess your skills and see what level of your media and digital literacy related to virtual mobility in context of open education is. And then based on this, we recommend to you to go either to the first level, second or third level. So each MOOC has 3 parts, 3 different levels, and you can follow our recommendation from the pre-assessment, or you can decide yourself, because this way of following the MOOC is not predefined. So we just recommend to go, for instance, to basic level, or to, we call it now foundation level. But if you think it's too easy for you, you can just jump directly into intermediate level. So every learner has the possibility to choose, and we only recommend some pathways. Then once you have learned, for instance, on the foundations or basic level, you take an e-assessment. Then there is the necessary step, because we work with Moodle, is the course completion. And once you complete the course, you can apply for a badge, which is basically a digital certificate to recognize your skill at a certain level. So in this case here, it would be a badge, a digital credential to recognize your basic or foundation level digital media literacy. And we have designed as a set of digital credentials to recognize different skills. So you can see here, digital media, just 2 examples, digital media skills and intercultural skills at different levels, the basic level, the intermediate level, and the advanced level. And the open credentials that we issue are not issued from the Learning Hub. They are issued from the Learning Hub, but the Learning Hub is integrated with the Bester service, and this is where our colleagues from Italy come into play, the Cineca cooperation partner. They developed the Bester platform, and in Bester badging platform, there is a page dedicated to the project, so you can find it there. And all our badges are listed there, even independent from the hub. So you can just go there and see which badges can be earned in our MOOCs. And this is the screenshot from the Bester badging platform. And this is how the badges look like in the hub, in the Moodle hub. So here is an example of a collaborative learning foundation level sub-MOOC. And you can see here at the beginning, for this level, you can earn this digital credential, collaborative learning, and at foundation level. And you need to click here to get your badge, but you can only get it once you have completed the course. So this course completion step is necessary for earning badge. And if you want to know more about the badge, you go to this Bester website, and it's all listed here, what it means, where it was designed. You can also see which skills this badge is recognizing, and you also see the criteria. This is very important, the criteria that is necessary to be fulfilled to be able to receive this badge. And you see that e-assessment, successfully passed e-assessment, is one of the 3 key criteria, for example, for this particular credential, for this particular badge. So this is, for example, how it looks like inside the MOOC. It is a mini MOOC, like I said, so it's rather short. The resources to learn are short. We are using different OERs. We're creating also our own OERs using H5P for Moodle, which allows you to create interactive content. And in general, the idea is to make it rather short and concise so that learners can learn in a short time. Then we have also some possibilities for online collaboration. We have different forums and so on. And at the end, we have e-assessment, take the foundation level quiz. We call it a quiz, but it's our e-assessment. And you have to pass this to be able to earn the credential. And we have designed also different forms, different types of e-assessment. So usually at foundations level, it would be a quiz, usually based on multiple choice. At higher levels, the intermediate level, and at advanced level, especially at advanced level, we will use the e-portfolio as a method where you as a learner have to document your learning, maybe argue what you learned, present what you learned, and the e-portfolio would be then peer reviewed. And once you have successfully passed this e-portfolio reviewed, then you can apply for the badge at the advanced level. What else? So once you have completed the foundations level, you go to the intermediate level, and then again it has a similar structure. Then you see here the badge for the intermediate level, and there's some other activities, some other open education resources you can use to learn, and some other assessment types this level. So here again, the different open credentials, different badges you can earn here in relation to the collaborative learning MOOC. If you are interested in the credentials, how we have designed them, how the process was, the description of the credentials, you can find it also all here under open credentials, and also in the outputs. It's output 5 that we are working on. We have current work in progress described there. And I'm almost at the end of my presentation. I would like to invite you to join us. We have been developing our network beyond the partnership of the original partner organizations that are founded by the European Commission. We think that the approach to sustainability of the project is to connect with other projects, other organizations, to make this learning hub, the MOOC, sustainable after the project ends, which will be 2020. So it's not much time that we have. And that is why, if you are interested and would like to collaborate, would like to test the MOOCs, would like to give us feedback, maybe you want to use our MOOCs in the context of your university, of another project, get in touch. We are very open to any type of collaboration, and you can see some of the projects and organizations that already collaborate with us. So thank you very much. I hope you have some questions. Here again are some links, the project website, the Learning Hub, and you can also find us on Twitter. And we use this hashtag. If you have something special to say about open virtual mobility, you can use this hashtag. It will appear on the right-hand side on the project website. So we'll be very happy to see your tweet in the tweet feed. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. I'll wait for the questions.
Thank you very much for the interesting presentation of Ilona. So are there any questions?
I spoke a long time, half an hour, but you said I have time, so I took it very slowly. So maybe I explained everything.
I think it was a very clear. See sources typing. No, sorry. Ilona, please close your microphone because there is an echo. Yes, thank you. Okay, Ilona, thank you very much for the interesting presentation. And then I would like to give the floor to Carme, who is here. Carme Anguera from the MOOC, the Open University of Catalonia, and a presentation about globalization and cooperation. Carme, are you there? Just checking if it's all working. Carme, are you there? Ah, something's happening. Okay, that looks good. We cannot hear you yet.
Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
now we
okay.
can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Hello, good
Thank
afternoon.
you.
First of all, I'm sorry, I have a big cold, so I will try to make myself understandable. If not, please say something and I will repeat it. Okay, so as you have asked, I will explain a little bit our experience and our motivations. Why are we working with Latin American universities carrying out virtual mobilities with that universities? First of all, there is a natural relationship between the UOC in Catalonia and the universities in Latin America because the Spanish language. As you know, most of our programs, 100% online, are in Spanish, so it's an easy way to collaborate because it's the same language. Another big reason is because there is an increasing need of quality higher education in many countries in Latin America right now. Many students every year cannot access to the university, even if they have passed the secondary school with good marks, but there are no enough offer to cover that need. So e-learning have a big space there, and it's clue to cover all these vacancies every year. And the last one is because we, as a social answer, because when we were born 25 years ago, we were born as a mandate from the Catalan government to cover a social need, to cover academic training needs for women, heads of family, and for those who could not finish their studies when they started because they had to work, because economical needs, and to cover academical needs for those who were living abroad from the city and could not have access to a university. So we think that the same situation is happening now in some of these countries, and we really want to share our experience and our achievements with those countries who need them. Our principles is that we believe that online is an effective and efficient way to increase that coverage, that's what I was explaining right now, of higher education, and that way we also contribute to the achievement of the SDG 4. Online also offers an opportunity to achieve the most difficult goals, but with quality. We want to be the complement of these educational systems in Latin America because it's a really important moment right now. Most of that these countries are just starting to the online right now. We are afraid that if they start in the wrong way or with the wrong company, without quality, the conception of the online could not be the right one. So we really want to complement these systems and try to help them to build it in a high quality way. Another big principle is that the educational model is nothing without the organizational one, and is as important as the technology that accompany that model. And finally, due to our public mandate, as I have explained, and our global aspiration, the UOC, we feel committed to collaborate with universities and also governments to complement and accompany them in the choice of their own model. We are not there to sell or to make copies of our university, because every system and every country will need a different thing depending on their needs, on their countries and their moment. So we are there to accompany them. How do we do it? We are not we are not doing any programs or doing any platforms or doing anything in every country where we collaborate. We try to, from like 5 years ago now, we try to build up a global work that is useful to every country, to everywhere where we have students. So when we build up, when we start up a new academic program, we try to define it from its beginning as a global content with global examples, with professors and teachers from everywhere, so that final result can be good for everyone, with no matter from where you come from. And what do we understand for a global university? We want to contribute to train professionals and citizens with global skills, those who can contribute to their world, that can understand this current world and contribute to its improvement. This internationalization and this globalization of the university is not only good for that countries in Latin America, but also from our previous students in Catalonia in Spain, because they get to know people from everywhere, they get really important social skills, and they get to understand this globalization from their own experience. We want to improve higher online education and research and online research. That was what I was explaining before. We want to collaborate with government, with quality agencies, to build up from the beginning the principles and the guidelines that will guide later on all the evolution of the online in every country. And of course, we want to contribute to the society improvement. In which areas are we doing virtual mobilities with that countries? In everyone. Doesn't matter the country, doesn't matter the type of program. We offer the opportunity to do these virtual mobilities in everything we have. We promote that the areas where we, as we want to be the complement, a complement to their educational system, we try to offer what they don't majority have, what they don't have, or what they need more. But I mean, we are open to do it in every single area. As I was saying, we want to be a complement of their educational systems. What have we done? What are our items until now, achievements until now? We've been collaborating with Colombia, assessing their quality agency for online education guidelines for more than 2 years. We've been carrying out virtual mobilities with different universities, training more than 1,000 students right now. They come to our university, and then later on, the origin university recognizes what the students have done at work. We also have trained professionals of universities through our master degrees, and we also offer scholarships to increase access to online quality higher education. How do we do it? We collaborate with the government, with ICTICS in that case, and we offer scholarships, 40% less than what they would pay. They are excellence scholarships, and we do it together with the government. The qualification and the selections are together with them, and in that way we try to promote the internationalization for all, because we think otherwise it's really difficult that everyone can follow this type of international experience. In Ecuador, we've been also assessing the quality agency for online education guidelines. We've been also training Hello? I think I'm here again. Okay, perfect. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but it was gone. In Ecuador, we've been assessing the quality agency for online education guidelines. We've been training professionals, but in that situation, we were training professionals from governmental departments, in specific to the Social and Inclusion Ministry, through our master degrees. So later on, they can be recognized in that country. We've been assessing the National Secretary of Education in terms of starting the online system in Ecuador. We've been also carrying out virtual mobilities with universities, and we've been training professionals of universities through our master degrees. And we also will offer this September, for the first time, scholarships to increase the access to online quality higher education. This is not okay. In Chile, we've been collaborating with the quality agency. We've been doing virtual mobilities with 2 different universities, and we've been also training professionals of universities through our master degrees. And in Mexico, we've been doing less things, only with quality agency and training professionals with universities. We've been establishing contacts with Monterrey and 2 other universities to try to do virtual mobilities, but we didn't start yet. And Peru and Uruguay is the same. We are just starting and defining collaborations that we hope they will be successfully carrying out next year. And a part of this, we have a big relationship with the OEA, and we are offering scholarships to increase access to online quality higher education to all the countries that form the OEA. Why am I explaining all this? Because we don't see the virtual mobilities as a single activity, but a really important part of this strategic global plan of the UOC. Virtual mobilities alone, if we could do virtual mobilities alone with one of these countries, we really think they will not make the difference. Because if we do these virtual mobilities and later on in that country the online is not recognized, what is it for? If we do virtual mobilities to a master degree, but later on this master degree is not recognized, because in that country the online is not recognized, we really have experienced that maybe in Europe are not or seem not real, but we really find countries where the online is not an option. So we cannot do virtual mobilities if we don't work with the ministry and with the government in general to include the online as an educational possibility system, because there is not that option. So we really have to work in a global dimension. That's why when you ask me to explain things about work in Latin American universities, I thought if I don't explain all this, it has no sense, because the big reason is another one. Not the virtual mobility itself alone, but a part of a big issue. We don't invent any pedagogical model to collaborate with these universities. We work as we always do, through our pedagogical model, where the student is the center, where we have different teaching supports, the tutor, the professor, and the collaborator, where there are tools and resources, global ones, as I have said before, and where we all work in a network community. I will put an accent to the teaching support. The only thing that is different to the rest of students when we do a mobility is that we try that the tutor have enough information of the background of these students. Because one thing, in every single country in LATAM, the evaluation system is different. So we try that this tutor knows this academic background in that country, so the tutor can give a more appropriate answer to the students. That's the only thing that we do different when we do a mobility. All the rest is exactly the same that we do for the rest of our students. And of course, I could not finish our presentation without mentioning the SDGs. We really try to contribute to the achievement of the SDGs with every single action we do. Thank you very much.